Yeah.
It is. It came up much faster than it normally does.
This is true. It's just going right into that. That was like,
Right, 4 o'clock. Good afternoon and welcome to the Thursday, October 2nd, 2025 special meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Page.
Here.
Councilmember Belanca.
Here.
Councilmember Barley.
Here.
Councilmember Stafford.
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. So the purpose of this meeting was to deal with two of the bids that were coming due. One of the bids, last meeting, we pushed it further back. This one we did not. We received one bid response this was for the operation of the restaurant in the Riverton Oaks Golf Course Clubhouse. We received a single response, and fortunately the response was rather low. It basically starts at $9 per square foot. So for those who don't know how rents are typically referred to in the commercial world, it's the annual price so basically per square foot per year. So the first year rent was $9 per square foot. In year 3, it rises to $12 per square foot. The average in the greater Rochester region is $18 per square foot. Typically ranges from 12 to 24, somewhere thereabouts, like I said, with an average around 18. Things that make rents higher, new construction, which this is, more fully equipped, which this is not, but this is also not unequipped either. Prime locations, that one's an opinion piece, but that rate, when you look at what the cost to build the building is, and the other thing I'll note that we asked for some amount up front. The amount up front is basically less than that first year's rent. So when I look at it, I just don't know how we can afford to build this with rents that low. I don't know what other people's thoughts are.
Well, one of mine is that when I spoke to several people about it, and two of the responses was, this is too quick. I can't get, I couldn't get it done in 10 days or whatever it was.
21 days, but
from our second meeting. Okay.
Yep.
Well, when I spoke to them, they couldn't get it done in 10 days. Okay. So, they couldn't come up with a business plan. I don't think that amount of time.
So how can we open it up? How can we get the word out to more people so maybe we get some more bids?
I don't know. We received a word from a couple that they did look at it and were not interested.
Oh, that's okay. That was my
yeah, there were a couple who did notify us that they weren't interested. We've not reached out to anyone after bid opening because we didn't want to in any way taint the process. But like I said, there were a couple people who notified us up front that they were not planning on submitting a bid, that they looked at it and decided Those were folks who are currently operating a restaurant already in Henrietta. So I don't know if they just thought they were afraid of the competition or the financial, or I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the current stagflation economy plays a part in this, that people are less or are more risk averse than they might otherwise be. I mean, let's face it, restaurants open and fail at a higher rate than any other business.
Steve, how many people requested bids?
I don't know that answer. Okay,
Can we open it up to more eligible businesses than what we limited it to in the first beginning?
we didn't limit it to anyone. We basically gave additional points for being in some of these, scoring for some of these others. Being specific, but
Uh-huh.
the other option we have, well, Becky's looking that up, is we can also look at the county model. What the county model is it's a much smaller clubhouse with essentially a grill and a seating area. It's a very simple menu, so it's not a separate restaurant. It's a grill that only operates when the course is open. And then they actually get a limited liquor license, just basically beer and wine type, not hard liquor. The county actually gets the liquor license, and then they basically serve food and drink. We wouldn't have the restaurant, but we'd at least have food and beverages for our golfers. Obviously, that would be significantly less expensive to build, and we have most of the equipment, so that's another potential route. You know, obviously, when we got this, you know, myself and Charlie expressed our, you know, we thought we put together something good, and we were disappointed in the response, and but I just can't financially, I just can't justify, and I don't think any of you can, going out, building this thing at that amount. And I see that Becky's got her numbers ready.
We received requests, we sent it to 3 different restaurants.
Wow.
Plus Builders Exchange and PWX Express, and
Right. So a
so,
lot of the stuff we do get,
yeah, 3 actual restaurants
Right.
received the
Okay.
RFP.
some people, you know, now again, I don't know about the restaurant side of stuff, but like when the other contracts, a lot of them come out through Builders Exchange instead of directly through us. I don't know that any of the restaurants would have, but in that case, we don't know how many people requested it. So thoughts?
It's a tough business, with the number of shares and seats we have there. I'm surprised that, we only had 1 bid, but I think the model of the smaller hamburger, hot dog, can of beer, whatever.
Well, and I know people had expressed even before this, when we were talking about going out, there was some fear about building, for some of the board members, about building something this size, and then what happens if that restaurant goes out of business?
Yeah, you know, golf clubs don't make a lot of money, so if you break even, I guess you're doing something, but I just wonder how can we attract more people to be interested in the clubhouse as a whole? How can we do that? I don't know if, you know, getting rid of some of our point systems, I don't know. I mean, it's gotta be a better way for us to get the word out. I think that's probably key.
Like,
Maybe we can reach out
I
to,
mean, to my knowledge, we reached out to most of the local operators in the area, and I know Mike reached out to a few more, and that's part of, we got some of the feedback from some of the wider areas.
Yeah, I believe it was 6 different folks that I talked to.
Right.
And is a very successful restaurant, and one just closed his restaurant.
I talked to at least 3.
One rents a restaurant out.
maybe the timing's not good, but
Yeah, I just question, I'm just wondering whether this economy is not the best. You know, one of the things we've talked about is trying to build it in a manner that, and then in a location such that if it ever made sense down the road, could you add on to the building? But you know, the thought would be like, instead of right now it's 6,000, we'd be looking at more in the 2,000 to 3,000 square foot total. Right now, the way it was set up is the restaurant portion was 4,000 square feet at the club or the pro shop, and common area with had all the restrooms was about 2,000 square feet. The restrooms could be downsized some because we wouldn't be supporting a 4,000 square foot restaurant. You know, if I put in a 500 square foot seating area, you know, you're probably looking at, like I said, somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 square feet, probably on the order of, you know, under 2,500 square feet.
Just building on Rob's point, the restaurant association, do they, I don't know how many restaurants belong to it in Rochester, but could you, if we were to send it out to be rebid, could we send it to them? You know, hey, here's an opportunity.
I mean, one of the things we could potentially do if we're going to do something like that, if we're going to try it and go out again, I would suggest we reach out perhaps to that association to say to them, is there something we can do to make this more attractive?
And I don't.
And if they say that, you know, based off of, you know, looking at the area and looking at this thing, I just don't see it being that attractive, then maybe we decide to go the small route.
I think that's a good idea, and maybe we can get the word out to talk to some of the developers that are around too, and see if they have any input or any referrals that might help out.
And we could also obviously talk to the folks who did apply and say, you know, why was it so low, out of curiosity? You know,
Right.
maybe, you know, sometimes what happens, again, I don't know the restaurant business, but I know the bidding and the contractor business. What happens with a lot of contractors is if they see it as, boy, I'm a little busy to deal with this, but I'll throw in their case, they throw in a highball bid, right? That it's really expensive, not expecting to get taken.
Right.
But it's one of those, well, if someone's willing to pay me that, I'll do it. This could be the opposite, that these individuals were like, well, I don't know that I want to take this on, but you know, at this price, I'll take it on.
Right.
I don't know if that was the case. It's very possible. Again, I have not spoken to anyone since bid opening because I just did not want to take the process out.
So
If you want to talk, go ahead. Come on up, Charlie.
So if we decide to open up this to bid, again, we'll have a discussion on maybe the point system or something again before we just throw it back out.
Correct.
there.
I think we should, yeah.
Okay, I just want to, because I have.
Well, like I said, I'd love to, if we're gonna do that, I think we might want to go also again to the Restaurant Association to see if they have any recommendations on how we can make this more attractive.
Okay, but before we send it back out to bid, I
Correct.
want to make sure that we
Yeah.
discuss it more.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I just want to express I highly agree with what you just said, because sitting here thinking about it in your comment, the bid process sometimes can be very daunting even for contractors. And I would bet most of the restaurants probably do not work in that world, so on a regular basis. So looking at that packet and the information you have to fill out to do a bid, maybe by reaching out to the restaurant folks and, you know, making sure we worded things correctly and everything else, I think that might.
Right, to your point, and they might even have a standard bid package that people are more used to seeing.
We had thought of that sooner.
Yeah,
That's great idea. So,
yeah, I just, the part of the problem is you get so involved in the thing, you get so excited about it. You're so excited, you assume everybody's gonna be that excited, and clearly that wasn't the case. Or let me rephrase, it might be that they were excited, but to your point, they were more daunted than they were excited. Other thoughts?
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, so I did put together a resolution to reject all the current bids. I did not put one forth to go back out to bid yet, because to your point, I figured if we were gonna go back out to bid, we were gonna reform it. So right now, the only action we would take now would be to reject the bids. And then I'll work on something. We'll try to reach out to the restaurant association and see if we can get something in place for the 15th, I think is that correct? Get something in place for the 15th.
Okay.
So that way we can go back out on the 15th if we so desire. And again, if we get told by the Restaurant Association or if that one ends up, sorry, got the silence. If that one ends up also having low response, then we can go the small route. And what I'll probably do is I'll start working on that solution as well, just putting together a rough idea of drawing to get a feel for what that might look like so that again, if it comes back low, part of the reason is we'd like to get our building permit submitted, even if we don't get this built this year. We'd like to get the building permit submitted before December 31st so that we can actually have gas at the building. That's the deadline. Now, in theory, well, there is an exemption for gas cooking at commercial kitchens, but not gas heating,
Oh,
which I don't understand. The other thing I will note is that the state has not advised utility companies on how to deal with that as of yet. But who knows? It's much safer to get a building permit in by December 31st, even if we're not going to build it this year. One of the questions came up, if we went smaller, would we replace the existing clubhouse? And again, I would not want to for two reasons. One, then you have to knock the existing one down and we'd be for time without a clubhouse. I'd rather, even if we go to the smaller footprint, do it on the north side of the utility track. And then that also then again allows us to expand the parking lot. Because if we go that route and maybe at some point want to go where we're also, by the way, exploring so as I mentioned, this property was originally part of the parkland that was created for Riverton. However, there was a parkland alienation done on what was supposed to be the front nine, the other 9 holes. This was originally supposed to be an 18-hole course.
mhm.
They did a parkland alienation, sold that land to developers, and used the proceeds from that sale to purchase Martin Road Park. What I don't know, and we've got Roland investigating it, is whether the clubhouse area was part of that parkland alienation.
Gotcha.
If it was, then what we should be able to do if we wanted to is we could create a subparcel and just do a land lease and have somebody come in, whether it could be Bill Gray's, it could be
Okay.
Abbott's, could be whatever. But again, if it's still parkland, you can't do that. If it's parkland, it has to serve the purpose of the park.
Gotcha.
But hopefully we'll know that answer before the 15th. So again, we can look at that option as well. If we decide, you know what, I personally, I think it's nicer to have the clubhouse and restaurant integrated, but I'd like to know if we have the other option.
Right.
So any other questions on that?
Nope.
Okay, then let me,
Yeah, the one thing I have to say too is, I'd be leery, just even if it was decent money, I'd be a little leery because only one bid too,
right. Oh, I'm with you. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not the only reason I would,
No, I'm with you on that. It's because then you just say, well, why, right? That's part of the question is what happened. And I think it's probably a combination of all the stuff we talked about. We're so used to now dealing with these bids and it's a mini bid and it's peeled way down. But again, a restaurant operator might not. Well, I guess I'll put forth a motion and then we'll have discussion as part of that motion. So fellow board members, I have resolution 17-335, 2025 to reject the proposal response received for the Riverton Oaks Municipal Golf Course Clubhouse Restaurant operations.
Second. Rick's got it.
Yep. Any discussion? There are folks in the public. I don't know if anyone in the public wishes to add anything. Is there any further discussion amongst the town board? All right, and hearing nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley.
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
aye,
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. And that's it. That was all that was on the agenda. In 11 minutes, we will be having our public information session for the LWRP, the Towpath Village and Canal Side Park. So anyone's welcome to remain in attendance for that. And other than that, I make a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
How about seconded?